For 3,000 years, the cerebral analysis chamber had never been wrong. Long before the Galactic Coalition existed, the ancient machine had been designed to do one thing with perfect accuracy: identify fear. Its crystalline walls pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, responding to neural activity, emotions, instincts, and survival impulses buried deep within the mind. Every cadet who entered emerged changed, shaken, and exposed. The chamber did not judge skill, strength, or intelligence. It judged something far more fundamental. Cadet Marcus Webb stood outside the membrane-like entrance, watching as the last student before him stumbled out on shaking limbs. The Vexian cadet collapsed to the floor, chittering uncontrollably, its fear identified in seconds: separation from the hive mind. The glowing display above the chamber door confirmed it clinically, as if fear were nothing more than a data point. Commander Xylo observed from the platform above, his scaled features unreadable as his triforked tongue tasted the air. "Cadet Webb," he called. "You are the last of this cycle. Proceed." Marcus straightened his uniform and stepped forward without hesitation. A year ago, the wet squelch of the chamber ceiling behind him might have unsettled him. After the Proxima frontier, it barely registered. The air inside thickened instantly, heavy and viscous, as if he were submerged in thought itself. Tendrils of light wrapped around his temples, invasive and searching, and Marcus felt his memories being rifled through with surgical precision. The machine did not start gently. Images slammed into him: his childhood home in Colorado, his sister's laugh, the transport crash that killed his parents. He felt the loss but did not collapse under it. He had already survived grief. Then came training, the recruiter's office, boot camp, his first confirmed kill, a razor-wing pirate seconds away from executing civilians. The chamber tested reactions next. Heights. Confined spaces. Pain. Death. Marcus endured each without panic. Outside the chamber, the instructors began to murmur. The test usually took seconds, not minutes. Inside, the chamber's hum shifted in pitch, growing strained. It pushed deeper, cycling through universal fears: helplessness, betrayal, annihilation. Marcus acknowledged every one of them. But none owned him. As the timer passed 1 full minute, something unprecedented happened. The chamber hesitated. For the first time in its existence, it could not find what it was looking for. Inside the cerebral chamber, Marcus Webb felt the probing intensify. The machine was no longer observing, it was searching desperately. Its ancient systems escalated through deeper psychological layers, tearing through survival instincts, emotional anchors, and subconscious defenses in rapid succession. Where others had broken, screamed, or begged for release, Marcus remained steady, breathing slow and controlled. The chamber replayed loss again, this time with variations. His sister dying. His squad being wiped out under his command. Humanity's extinction. Each scenario carried emotional weight, but none triggered paralysis. Marcus felt grief, guilt, and anger, but fear never crossed the threshold into control. He had learned long ago that fear was not an enemy. It was a signal. A warning system meant to inform decisions, not dictate them. Outside, Commander Xylo's composure finally cracked. The display showed no result. Instructors from a dozen species crowded around, whispering in disbelief. The chamber had analyzed billions of minds without error. It did not stall. It did not hesitate. Inside, the machine made a final attempt. Instead of images, it presented a concept. A question formed not in language, but in raw cognition. What if you are broken? What if your lack of fear is the flaw? Marcus smiled. "I'm not broken," he said aloud, instinctively knowing the chamber could hear him. "And I do feel fear. I just don't let it drive." The chamber went silent. The lights died. The probing ceased. For a brief moment, Marcus stood alone in complete darkness, untouched by thought or sound. Then the membrane parted, and he stepped back into the observation hall. Every instructor stared. The display above the chamber scrolled endlessly through languages and symbols before settling on a single word in galactic standard, unknown. Commander Xylo approached slowly, awe visible beneath his controlled exterior. "Cadet Webb," he said. "In 3 millennia, this chamber has never failed. You are the first." "I have fears, sir," Marcus replied calmly. "I just don't think they're the kind you're looking for." Xylo demanded an explanation, and Marcus gave it without arrogance. Most species evolved with specific instinctual fears tied directly to survival. Humans, however, came from a world where danger was constant, unpredictable, and relentless. Earth had forced them to adapt differently. They couldn't eliminate fear. They had to function through it. A Delarian instructor objected, citing other high-threat species. Marcus countered easily. Hive species feared isolation because it meant death. Humans evolved as both individuals and tribes. They had no single failure point. Not fearless, Marcus concluded. Just stubborn enough to move forward anyway. The chamber had found the truth. Human fear could not be exploited. Commander Xylo listened carefully as Marcus Webb finished speaking. The explanation resonated far deeper than data ever could. The chamber, ancient and flawless, had not malfunctioned. It had discovered something unprecedented, an adaptive fear response beyond its predictive models. The chamber identifies a species breaking point, Xylo said slowly. Every mind has a line it will not cross. Marcus met his gaze. Humans don't ignore that line. We move it. The realization unsettled the room. Fear, for most species, dictated boundaries. It preserved order. It allowed behavior to be predicted, controlled, and exploited in war. Humanity disrupted that equation entirely. They acknowledged fear, processed it, and continued regardless. Not because they lacked survival instinct, but because they had learned fear was not the ultimate authority. Xylo finally nodded, performing a gesture of acknowledgement reserved for superior adversaries. You passed. Top marks. Then he added quietly, and may the cosmos have mercy on anyone who mistakes your species for prey. As Marcus walked away, instructors whispered among themselves. One Delarian voice cut through softly. They call humans lucky. They're not lucky. They're simply too stubborn to stop. Marcus smiled. Humanity had not reached the stars because space was safe. They reached for it because it was dangerous. Curiosity, defiance, and the refusal to be controlled by fear had driven them outward. Where others waited for certainty, humans moved forward without it. Behind him, the display above the chamber flickered once more. A final notation was added to the ancient database. Homo sapiens, caution advised. The machine had catalogued fear for 3,000 years, but humanity had forced it to record something new. Not bravery. Not recklessness. Unpredictability. In a universe ruled by instinct, the most dangerous predator was not the one with claws or venom or speed. It was the one that could analyze fear, accept it, and still advance. The one that asked questions instead of charging blindly. The one that adapted when instinct failed. Marcus Webb was only one human. But to the Galactic Coalition, he had become a warning. Fear could be measured. Humans could not.